Hello, welcome back to my reviews of Tai Lopez's 67 Steps. This is step 65. This one is the Pierian spring, and from whence cometh the pride, the self-fulfilling delusion. This one really follows on from the last one, kind of a bookend to that. This one's all about the error of the dilettante. And if you don't know what a dilettante is, it's somebody who knows a little bit about something and knows just enough to kind of convince other people they know something. In other words, they know just enough to be dangerous. And the title of this step comes from Alexander Pope poem, where he says, "A little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring." So what Pope is saying here is go deep or don't go at all. Go big or go home. Is that the saying that the kids use today? So this one is all about how not to be a dilettante. Number one, read more. And don't adopt a dogma until you've really read and studied lots and lots. According to that book, Whence, it's 14,000 hours of knowledge gathering before you're an expert. That's a lot of time, trust me. So, of course you can speak about things along the way. You don't have to wait and pop out at the end of a tunnel 14,000 hours later. Because speaking also, I find, helps you crystallize your points of view and gather information together. But don't take a strong position and accept that you could be wrong. One of the things in that great Sam Walton book, autobiography, is, when he was eulogized, somebody said, Sam Walton was never afraid to be wrong. He just said, I'm wrong. He learned his lesson and moved on. Don't be so keen to, first of all, ram your ideas down everybody's throat, and second of all, judge people whose ideas don't match yours, because maybe you should shut up and listen, and maybe you'll learn something. And also, it's very important to understand the opposite point of view. If you just shout down the opposite point of view, you're not actually learning. You've stopped learning at that point. I find people who are big on this thing, or people who are into like alternative medicines and politics, spiritual things, and diet, especially like vegans. Vegans don't seem to, once they've taken the vegan pill, that's it. And I was vegetarian for a while, and I know that you have to, if that's your way, you have to voice up and say, look, I can't eat this and this, but you don't have to ram it down people's throats and judge everybody who's not like you. Sorry to diverge. Anyway, remember that dilettantes are usually the loudest. The more people know about something, usually the quieter they get. That's because the more people know, the more they realize there is to know about something, and that nothing is simple. Politics isn't simple. Diet is not simple. Spirituality is not simple. Medicine is not simple. There's a time for traditional medicine, time for alternative medicine. Learn about these things. And now, especially after you've done the 67 steps, we're on step 65 here, through the 67 steps, if you've been following along at home and reading and, making notes and answering the questions, you've expanded your knowledge, I hope. I know I certainly have. But now's the time to be careful, and I'm saying this to myself as much as anyone, and probably I shouldn't even be doing these videos, because after 67 steps, I have a little more knowledge, but I'm speaking about a lot of things that, of course, I'm not an expert in here, so bear with me and forgive me, and like I say, these videos started out as notes to myself. Because, when we're dilettante, when we're at that early stage, we tend to look for evidence that supports our own beliefs, normally. We cherry pick. And But real knowledge, if you really understand a topic, it means you also understand the arguments to that topic. And somebody who really understands something is not afraid of hearing the opposing viewpoint, because, first of all, they can hopefully educate that person, but more than that, they might actually hear something that they can take into their viewpoint as well. So you should think about what it is. At this point, you should be thinking about what it is you can double down on and be that person who has deep knowledge. One of the very, very early steps in this was, finding your Eulerian destiny. That's the thing, you should be doubling down on. Get out of this dilettante space, focus on something. Because this 67 steps is kind of like phase 1. And phase 2, post 67 steps, is about going deeper, expanding your knowledge in all these 4 pillars, of course, because we don't want to just focus on one area, but it's expanding your knowledge more and more and more, building. Now you're aware, and then you go out, right? So, I think that's it for this one. It's kind of, like I say, a follow-on. It's go deep on knowledge. Don't stop learning just because we're coming to the end of the 67 steps. And again, I'm talking to myself. You, Phil, over there. Don't stop just because we're at the end or near the end of this one step or one section. Okay, so what's the questions for today? Question number 1 is, when were you a dilettante? When did you talk about something that you really didn't know about? Number 2 is, what specific subject are you committed to learning more about? Is it business, health? Of course, we want to learn something about all of these things, but what's going to be your specialist subject, as they say on the Game Show Mastermind? And number 3 is, how are you going to implement that? What's your path to becoming an expert? And the experts, believe it or not, it's not the people with the luck. Hopefully you know that by now. It's not people with luck who make the money. It's the people who are experts, and the people who are open and accepting and take advantage of opportunities when they're presented, and know enough to be able to take advantage. So, how are you going to implement your plan to becoming more knowledgeable? Those are our 3 questions. This is step 65. Very, very close. But subscribe wherever that is, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.